Truman Boots in British Tan Grizzly. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. I am Dale of Dale's Leatherworks, and in today's video we're going to be unboxing a new pair of Truman Boots. These are not my own, these were sent to me by my buddy Kai Tran. I will leave a link to his Instagram account in the description below. He's a super cool guy. He's got a fantastic boot collection, and he was kind enough to have these routed to me before sending them off to him. I've never reviewed Seidel's British Tan Grizzly, and I'm very excited to finally get a look at this stuff because Truman has been pushing a lot of Seidel leathers recently. All right, let's get a look at the other one. Yeah, they've run a lot of Grizzly leathers. They're all super cool and super mystifying because when a tannery makes a new leather, it's always going to be different from previous releases, and I really like to sort of get my eyes on these new leathers and just get a good feel for them. Two pairs of incredible boot laces. I always pick the rawhides myself, but I will leave that up to Kai. They also came with some round waxed cotton laces. Beautiful. Finishing on this is just next level. This is why Truman continues to be one of my favorite boot companies on planet Earth, because they always do such a good job. Marrying the uppers with the bottoms is such an art, and they do such a good job with all of it. One thing that I'm noticing with some makers, you could be really good at building a sole, but when it comes to lasting the upper and when it comes to choosing the hardware, implementing the different aspects of the build and bringing it all together, sometimes it's like they have a really good sole, but like the upper isn't lasted super well or finished very well, or vice versa. Sometimes it's just an amazing upper, expertly done, and then the sole work isn't always up to par. Yeah, Truman always succeeds at both, and the sole work definitely complements the upper perfectly. Let's read a little bit about the leather. We worked with Seidel Tanning in Wisconsin to develop this boot leather, which started off as a watch strap leather. Seidel made modifications to the temper, finish, and especially the thickness to bring this rugged leather into our boots. We basically attempted to make the most rugged, thickest leather we could while maintaining over-the-top suppleness. Attempted and succeeded. The tan caramel coloring of this leather is maximally versatile, pairing as well with denim as it does with duck canvas pants and khakis. So these are built on the 79 last, plain toe, matching tongue, tan stitching, 5 eyelets, 2 speed hooks, antique brass hardware, structured toe, Goodyear welt construction, Truman commando sole, made in Eugene, Oregon. Absolutely, they nailed it eloquently in that description. That's what I'm talking about. Truman is very discerning in the leathers that they pick. They don't just run any old leather that comes their way. They'll get a leather in, they'll build it out, and if it meets their individual criteria, then they'll go ahead and build it. And yeah, this does not disappoint at all. This stuff is thick, man. This is some thick leather. Let me pull out my gauge here. 7.5 ounces. A typical boot leather, most any boot leather, is going to be 4.5-ish ounces. This is 7.5 in the tongue. It's got some crazy rough out on the inside, which is definitely going to help with preventing heel slip. These are my size. They are in a size 8.5. So tempting, but I'm sending them off to Kai. The tongue is half gusseted up. The hardware, always the best with Truman. It's not the type that'll cinch down on you at all. They really do a good job on their hardware. And then yeah, this 270-degree storm welt is just insanely beautiful. It marries up with the aesthetic of the upper just beautifully. And then instead of white stitching, we've got like a light brown stitch for the Goodyear welt. It's very thick, heavily waxed thread, amazing. And then yeah, the stitching on the upper also appears to be a light brown, maybe a copper color. And yeah, so in addition to this British tan Grizzly, Truman has also run, like I mentioned, the cattail Grizzly. They recently released one that's really cool, the Woolly Bully Rough Out. Those are insane looking. They also do the British tan Grizzly in an upland mock toe, which is insane. They do the Woolly Bully in a rough out cap toe as well. Yeah, so currently all the Grizzly that they're currently offering is in this British tan Grizzly. So, but they've done others. But yeah, that's one thing that I always have to commend Truman on. They really pick the best of the best. Sometimes you get swatches from different leather companies. Like I have some swatches here from Wickett and Craig, and you know, you just look through them all, and it's difficult to tell like what the end product is going to look like when you finally put it on a boot. But Truman always does a great job at sort of navigating the different options and picking what's going to work best for their brand. They always just sort of strike that perfect chord of rugged and resilient and robust and beautiful at the same time. They marry it all up. You could go get a rugged boot that looks like trash, but that's not what Truman does. They're truly good at their art. I think they've really perfected it, and this model just sings. Similar to the Horween Natural Cypress, this kind of reminds me of that. The Horween Natural Cypress on the 20 Lass. I really was a big fan of that model too. Absolutely amazing, but this one definitely is in line with that. Yet more stunning work by Truman. Anyway, so I will leave a link to the Truman website in the description below, so check them out. Truman does consistently bring back their most popular sellers. So they do have Java Wax Flesh back in stock. They have Stone Rambler back in stock. Some of my favorite leathers that Truman has always run. Those are absolute staples. If you don't own any Truman Wax Flesh or Rambler, I highly recommend, especially the Rambler. It's probably one of my favorite leathers of all times. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see y'all in my next video.